Hello, everyone, and welcome along to a January Data Idols Lightning Talk. I don't know about everyone else, but I love this time of year. I'm definitely a person for goal setting and thinking about careers and goals and paths and all this type of stuff all year round. But somehow in January, it really feels like a perfect time to do it. And we're very lucky to be bringing you this session, Career Pivot Like a Startup today. We're joined by Belinda. Belinda is a seasoned talent strategist and global recruiter, having built teams across UK, Europe, and Africa. And I don't think I'm wrong in saying has helped literally thousands of people transition and change into different types of jobs over the years. As you can see, we're also joined by Willem. Willem is an award-winning entrepreneur, three times author and global speaker who teaches entrepreneurial thinking. And I think by combining these two lovely people, we're going to be talking about what that means in the world of careers. If possible, if I could ask you both to turn on your cameras and microphones, come and join me on this virtual stage. And we'll get things going from there. So I'll come to you first, Belinda. We've known each other a little while, and thank you very much for approaching and suggesting this session. How have you been? How are you doing today?
Smashing, thank you. Very looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It definitely is.
A lot of
Definitely is.
value.
What about yourself, Belinda?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think that 2026 has got lots of opportunity, and that's what we're going to talk about
This is
today.
what we're here for. This is what we're here for, and I feel very happy that you've allowed me to be part of this conversation. I know both of you have been putting a lot of thought into the content that we're going to be delivering today. In terms of this sort of 40 minutes to an hour, there's going to be loads of great takeaways, but I know you've also got a bit of a deeper dive session where you've been building out a bit of a lab format where it's over the course of a day. So I'll throw it out there now. I will remind everyone at the end, but if you're enjoying what's coming up in these conversations, there is definitely a way to take this a little bit further. In terms of that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen first of all, which hopefully will make us a slightly better size for everybody at home. And we're going to jump straight in, actually. We're going to jump straight in. In terms of today's session, actually, maybe I'll come to one of you first of all, perhaps just to give a little bit of a broad overview. I know we were chatting behind the scenes there about we've broken it down into 5 sort of sections and stuff like that. But if you don't mind, maybe if you could give the people at home just a bit of an idea what we're aiming to do on this session, and then we'll jump into the first talking point from there. So who would be best to give us a bit of an overview?
Oh, I'll do a bit of an overview if that's
Perfect.
all right.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, the angle for today is about navigating careers the same way that founders navigate uncertainty. And there's a big emphasis here on slow to fast, strategic, and future focused. But let me give you a bit of context around that. You cannot pick up your phone or open any socials without seeing the fact that AI is completely rewriting the rules of work right now. And what we're seeing is that people who invest deeply in AI skills, you know, I read a report the other day and it was they're unlocking 14 extra hours of productivity a week. It's a lot, eh? But they're also 55% more likely to leave their jobs. But why?
Yeah.
Because the market rewards those skills faster than most companies can promote them. And that's having a massive impact on the roles that we're seeing out in the external market. So junior roles are shrinking, external opportunities are accelerating.
Yeah.
And nearly 40% of workers fear both job loss and skill erosion in an AI-driven world. So some of the topics we're going to touch on today are around how do you grow when the ladder is unstable? And how do you stay, most importantly, valuable when roles keep shifting? Dylan, is there anything else you want to add on that?
No, I think the award goes to you for perfectly setting the context.
Thank you so much.
That was smooth. I enjoyed that. It's like you guys have practiced. You know what you're talking about. In terms of that, I did say I'd jump straight into the first question, but also I do want to just sanity check. I do keep the introductions a little bit to the point in terms of your backgrounds. Again, it'll probably help to give a little bit of context for the people that have joined us at home about both of you, and then we'll go from there. So I will actually come to you first, Willem, in this instance, if you don't mind. Obviously, I mentioned that you are an award-winning entrepreneur. Tell us a bit more. What's your background, and what are you up to day today when you're not delivering webinars for us here today?
Thank you, David. I've been an entrepreneur now for 26 years. So I have experience from manufacturing, where we did military specification manufacturing. I've been in the online industry since 96. I just revealed my age. Have my master's in information systems management. I've won multiple awards in the creative industry as well. I've been in the entrepreneurial development space for 11 years. So I coached and mentored on IBM tech programs to trade programs, helping plumbers build businesses, to the Arts and Culture Trust, where we take struggling artists to change everything. And in my nonprofit, the Human Entrepreneur, what I do there is quite simple and straightforward. I take unemployed people in slum-like environments, and I get them to start profitable businesses in 5 weeks without external funding, simply by changing the way that they think. And in my day-to-day work now, I teach entrepreneurial thinking as a foundational life skill within schools, universities, as well as in businesses, to help prepare the human race to thrive and survive in a world of perpetual uncertainty and change.
Yeah, amazing. I absolutely love that. First of all, what a fantastic background, but also just that most recent point that you're touching on there, that mindset shift, that entrepreneurial thinking. It makes so much sense at the moment. As you say, the world is changing, careers are changing, everything's changing that's around us. And actually that power of thought and how we approach things is obviously going to be massive. I mentioned at the start, Belinda, I said Belinda has helped thousands of people. I don't think that's an over-exaggeration, is it? So can you tell us a bit more about your background?
I don't know. I think you are definitely correct. So I've been working in the talent space for over 15 years now. I have worked for 3 startups. I've also co-founded a blockchain startup. And more recently, I've been working in the professional services sector, where I've held a variety of talent roles, but across different parts of the business. And I guess what makes me different, or what makes me unique, I guess I don't just fill roles. That's part of my job. But most importantly, and the thing that really makes me buzz, is collaborating with the people around me to architect the talent machine. So my approach is about blending technical domain expertise, a global mindset. I've lived in 6 different countries. I speak fluent French. I really enjoy building those connections and ensuring that companies future-proof themselves from a recruitment standpoint, but are also consistently looking at the talent architecture to find themselves. Sorry, I've just had a slight surprise of my friend's dog coming into the room. Apologies. But coming back to what I was saying, most importantly, focusing in on talent architecture and really thinking about how organizations, and it doesn't matter the size of the organization, it's about thinking about how do you scale without losing your cultural soul. Because if you lose that, you have complete disengagement, people will leave, and you're back to square one again.
Wow, fantastic. Dream team here. I feel like I can see why you two have paired up to make all of this happen. I also feel massively underqualified to be part of this webinar. But just super quickly for those at home, Thank you, Willem. That's what I needed. You'll be fine, Dave. Yeah, I'm Dave. Many of you may have seen me before, but in terms of my background, I did like 12 years in tech, but I've spent the last 15 years running business, running Data Idols, and also running the Data Science Festival. Like Willem, I remember the late 90s and starting work. It's the best era for technology and change still, in my opinion. But there we go. Okay. In terms of that, I will call out for the people at home. The chat and the Q&A is open. So if you're enjoying yourself and you have a burning question, feel free to stick it in. We'll keep an eye on it. And the other thing that I'll call out, I'm a big fan of it. There is a little react emoji on the webinar. So again, feel free to give us a round of applause or a little heart or a little, oh, there we go. There's some round of applause is coming in. So we have officially been welcomed to the stage with some emojis, which makes me very happy. Okay,
Thanks
so
for the
we
love, everyone.
it's
Here we
nice,
go.
isn't it? Here we go. Now we're cooking. That's what we want. So amazing stuff. And obviously, we've touched on the fact that obviously things are changing out there at the moment. I think it's probably quite clear for nearly everybody. There's a lot going on in the world. So I'm going to kick things off by saying, well, okay, let's flesh that out a bit. What is changing in the world of work, and why does it matter to us? So I'll hand over to you guys. Maybe to you first, Belinda, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. So I'm obviously coming at this from a recruitment angle, and my key observations are that skills are blending faster than ever before. And what that means is there's all these role titles merging, and quite frankly, I think a lot of people are just having an identity crisis. Um, and and that's really how this whole podcast came about, because Willem and I were kind of spitballing some ideas, and actually one of the big factors, rather selfishly on my side, is that I was made redundant at the end of last year, and I had this giant question: what is next for me? And we got talking, and the fact that these multi hats are pretty complex to break down, and there's almost an information overload out in the market right now. And that's where, this is where the entrepreneurial mindset comes in. So now I'm going to hand to Willem.
No, thank you for that, Belinda. And so true, but we just don't speak about it or teach. We're actually living and doing what we're talking to people about. And I want to refer back to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs 2025 report, where it states that the main skills that you need to develop nowadays is analytical thinking, problem solving, but resilience, flexibility, and agility. And all of those are entrepreneur traits. So when you sit in this webinar and you think to yourself, okay, well, how's this relevant? Why would entrepreneurial thinking be relevant in a career change? And just as a startup, David, you have your own business. When things shift, when customer needs shift, markets shift, you have to adapt and change. And that same thinking can be applied within other areas of your life, and especially your career. So how you shift your value as a business owner, you need to shift your value as an employee. And I think based on that report, to career pivot like a startup is not an option anymore. It's the only option that you have left. So better start learning to think like an entrepreneur. And that's our focus. That's why the work that Belinda and I do pivots and dovetails so very well, because I've not been employed for 25 years. So I don't understand the corporate market, but Belinda is so well versed in that. And now my thinking of how do you shift your mindset? And you have to ask yourself, how do I need to shift in my thinking? Because what worked yesterday doesn't work today. What got you here won't get you there.
100%. And I think that one of the areas that we're particularly interested in is that shift in loyalty and that comfort zone, hey? Because loyalty is really, really shifting very fast in the market. And the reality is, if you are truly in your comfort zone, then there are questions perhaps you should be asking yourself. So we have one for the audience, and we've got a few questions we're going to weave in.
I love
And
that.
we'll follow up afterwards as well with a little bit of a workbook on it too.
For
But the
sure.
first question is this: if your
Um,
skills had to blend or reshape tomorrow, which new direction would feel exciting and which would feel frightening?
I popped it in the chat,
That's
so
a
people can take
great
a look at that.
shout, Willem, actually. And I think with this webinar, what I'm hoping from this, and it's happening already for me personally, but it's planting seeds of thought. And it makes you think about, okay, how do I think? Where am I going? What are the skills I need? So I definitely invite everybody to grab a copy of these questions that are going into the chat. I think you guys also did have a PDF. Is it
Yep.
worth us sharing that now, or should we save that for
I
the
think
end? Or
if it's okay, we'll save it for the end, because I think it will then, once
it's a
people have heard,
takeaway?
it's a bit more of a takeaway that you
It's an
can.
8-page workbook, yes.
Oh, amazing.
It's a bit of a
There are.
workbit.
Teased it. We've teased
little
it.
bit of
Stick with
homework for
us.
people,
Yeah,
eh?
stick with us, and you get a
That's
workbook
right.
for the pleasure. Amazing stuff. I love the what you were talking about there in that first section. In that it's very much the takeaway for me there was people when I started, it was a career ladder, wasn't it? Definitely, you kind of got in at the bottom. Your career was mapped out from your first day. You spent 30, 40, 50 years in your career, and you learnt these skills, and the skills lasted you for 50 years, and that's what you did. And I think my takeaway from what you're talking about there is actually that is changing. Your career is perhaps a bit more of a portfolio. And actually, when you learn skills, the half-life of the skills, again, it's different. It's no longer a case you learn a skill that lasts you 20 years. You have to continually be adapting. Do you think that's fair or reflective of what you guys were getting across in that first section?
100%. I do, and I think that we have to recognize the fact that flexibility and that ability to pivot and keep yourself accountable on that front, that's the hardest part, right? And but you're not alone in it, and I think that's one of the big things that we want to emphasize today, is the fact that there are people around you. There's people in your immediate network, your peers, your colleagues, your friends, your family, that you can connect with on different levels to help you kind of bring some clarity to that as well.
Fantastic stuff. In terms of that, building on from it, then I think the second kind of area that we were looking to kind of drill into a little bit here was actually perhaps something that many people have experienced, perhaps particularly over the last sort of 12 months or perhaps a little bit longer, is that your role ends. We kind of said from C-suite to silence. Which, I speak to a lot of people in my day-to-day job, and people have definitely experienced this. So, what does that mean? And how should we be responding, basically?
That's a good question, David. I actually wrote an article a few years ago, because I've spent time with a lot of executives, specifically in the C-suite, who their careers have come to an end, be it for retirement, early retirement, or just the business is replacing them. And during their tenure, the phone is off the hook. They get messages, phone calls the whole day. Your inbox is just chock-a-block the whole day. They end, they go home, and the next morning, their phone is silent. No messages, no emails. People who used to respond within minutes or hours to a message just simply take days or never respond anymore. And that leads to a very interesting situation. So who am I? When I was this, everything happened, but now I'm this. Who am I? And that, I don't know about you, but whenever I say that and I speak about that, I feel the goosebumps all over my body, because I can only imagine how it must feel. And the audience can probably feel that as well. And that's a difficult thing to handle. And Belinda, you want to add on to that? You had some great perspectives on that.
Sure. I think that, from a professional perspective, some of the big questions that I think people need to be asking is, what might your current, what might cause your current environment to fundamentally shift, and that you're not part of that anymore? Well, here's a bigger question. What might make your current company fail? And the reason it's important to ask that is, if you're, for example, considering internal moves, is it really an internal move that takes you forward, or is it a lateral move? And what does that mean for you? Is it really something you want to be doing in the future? What does it enable you to do, most importantly? So, I mean, for me, it's that continuous upskilling. I can ask out to the audience, did you all do some kind of training last year? Thumbs up if
And
it's
Belinda,
a yes.
yeah. I want to add to that. There's a young guy here in South Africa that I'm starting to do keynotes with, and he did his PhD on the impact of AI and technology on workers.
I know the guy.
And he found that the relevance of knowledge that they teach in universities nowadays is 120 days. And so you have to fall into that entrepreneurial thinking of lifelong learning. I always tell people entrepreneurship is 10% business and 90% personal development. And it ties in with that quote by Jim Rohn, who said, if you don't have your own life plan, you'll fall into someone else's. And guess what they planned for you? Not much. So I support Belinda on that. How are you upskilling yourself and consciously upskilling yourself? I always have a fight with the entrepreneur crowd. Read 52 books a year. Like, no, choose 5 and focus on them. Because 52 books, how many of those things are you going to implement? Probably nothing. But focus, is it a focused and directional learning that you're doing and upskilling, or is it just upskilling for the sake of upskilling?
So good. Yeah. So good. Already making lots of sense. And I've jumped in a little bit early there. Man, I wish all of our speakers prepared as well as both of you have. So thank you for that. But I know, Belinda, you had a reflection in terms of this section. So I'll hand back to you for that.
Oh, sure. So, our key reflection here really is around, are you making career moves based on fear or based on what you want to become? And obviously from, my side as a professional talent acquisition expert, it needs to be about what you want to become. Because every single part of you around that will come through in an interview. And I can speak from recent experience. When I left my previous organization, I wasn't ready to interview. I really needed to decompress. But I was in that fear mode, fight or flight. I was like, got to find another job, got to find another job. And it was too soon. And I didn't bring my best self to those early interviews. I am far better prepared. I'm far more relaxed. I have a clearer mind about what my destination is. And that has a massive impact on how you come across in an interview.
Yeah, amazing. We sorry,
and that's so
to jump
important. From a business perspective, I see it a lot, especially in salespeople. When they don't play to win, they play not to lose. So they don't ask the hard questions. They don't take the leaps. They just play it safe. And that problem is your world eventually just shrinks and gets less and less. And yeah, that's the thing is it, how are you approaching this? Are you truly approaching this to win or simply not lose?
Yeah, fantastic. And I think the big takeaway, and you guys have hammered it home there for me, is definitely around the ownership piece as well. The quote was fantastic there, Willem. It's not one that I'd heard before, but again, it hits home. If you're not making the plans, no one else. I'm ad-libbing, but if you're not making the plan, no one else is making plans for you. You're not on the radar. So that's cool. The one just super quick thing, actually, Willem, again for you was I loved what you said there about talking to some of the entrepreneurs that and the entrepreneur crowd, and it's this whole read a book a week and knowledge and education and stuff. And you've said, like, take a step back, pick five, dive deep, make it more part of your life. Have you got any more kind of tips around, that aspect? Is it all about kind of consistency, taking it in, being thoughtful about what you're ingesting, or what are your thoughts around for the people at home? If they were going to say, I would like to upskill, I'd like to continue learning, how would you approach it?
That's a very good question, David, and I'm glad you're asking it. Because you get the 5 a.m. club, you get the 52 books a year thing, and there are countless labels, especially now in January. And even in the work that I do in the slums that I work in, people will come to my class with a folder this thick with certificates, and I ask themselves, of all those certificates, what information are you using? I said, none. I said, okay, give it to me so I can go and burn it. No, you can't. And ask yourself, when you look at something, how is this going to benefit me? How is this going to move me forward? How will this book help shift my mind and my perspective in such a way that I can move forward? And instead of just blindly doing things, because personally, I'm a personal development junkie. And at one stage, I just did anything possible. And now I just look at it. No, I don't need that. This is the one thing that I need. And you get laser focused. And the important thing there is not to look at the whole journey. What's the next step? Do that and see what the next step. And the next step is not working for you, take a step back.
Yeah,
I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
I really agree with what Willem's saying here. I think it's a really humble process to go through, and it's about learning to let go. And if you think about it from a business perspective, successful businesses solve simple problems, right? Look at Amazon. They have absolutely nailed the supply chain and delivery, nailed it. That is why they're so successful. They have solved a simple problem. But how do you apply that to yourself? So if you're asking yourself, and I've asked myself the same question over the last few months, what problems do I enjoy solving? Right? Because I've been there. Those Sunday evening night fears, where you're dreading the Monday. Yeah, there'll be people like who've dialed in on this. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. And it's not a good place to be. And so forcing yourself to do something you are not over and over again, it comes back to what I was saying previously around, are you really being the best person, the best version of yourself, or the version that you want to be proud of? One of the key reflections that I've been going through, and it was great actually over the festive break, just having some space to actually do this, and just everyone else was offline, and I had time to just think, and I went for long walks, and I didn't take my phone. I was just thinking, and the main thing I was thinking about was, what do I not want to be, and what do I not want to do?
Nice.
That is a very good thing. I've seen it so many times, because you end up not doing what you don't like when you're not specific. Specificity is the thing. And I want to add to your comment about, businesses solve a very simple problem. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't wake up in the morning and go like, damn, I'm going to solve a problem today. I hate the P word.
Thank goodness.
My favorite thing. And I always tell the people we should change the language. Instead of asking, what problem can I solve? Who can I help to win more today? You know, like I speak to beauticians. Who can you help to look more beautiful today? As a business owner, who can you help save money today? Who can I help enter a market much easier today? So look at how can you make somebody win? And when you look at a company to career pivot, how would I help them win more? And that's a different perspective. I think you can feel the energy shift as well.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. And ask yourself, who can I help to win more today?
Fantastic, fantastic. First thing I'm going to go back to though, Belinda, you were leaving your house without your phone. You went for a walk without your phone.
Oh,
What?
Dave, I did it yesterday. Now,
I
I live
love
in
it.
London, Dave. I live
Yeah.
in London, so don't get me wrong. This girl doesn't go anywhere without a personal alarm, all right? But I do love to go and walk without my phone.
Unplugged. Yeah, I need some
Unplugged.
more of that. I think
I
we're all trying it. We're all
I
trying it.
cannot recommend it enough. I walked near to where I live, but I was out. I walked for an hour and a half, did just under 9K. I walk fast. And it was beautiful.
Nice.
Just me being present in that moment.
That's an extra free takeaway for everyone watching at home. So not only career
Mm,
pivot, but like get some steps in and leave your blooming phone at home. So I'm going to pull it back though. Again, you guys have been really good with these reflective questions. If you don't mind, what was the reflection in terms of this kind of letting go piece? So I'll hand to you, perhaps, Belinda, and we'll stick it in the chat
yeah,
as well, if
sure.
that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reflective question here is, if you would allow yourself to let go fully, what freedom or energy might return to you?
Nice. I like it. I like it. It's kind of a little bit like subtract before you add. If you're going through these
It is.
changes, like don't add on extra pressure. Like have a look
Mm,
at what's serving you, what's causing you discomfort, what are you disaligned with, and perhaps actually maybe that's a good first mental model. If you're in this period of change, let go of some of the stuff and then add some more stuff back in. So that's wicked. We are definitely cooking now, and I saw a few thumbs up and heart emojis as we are sizzling, Willem. Exactly, that's what it's all about. And yeah, thank you for interacting. It means a
Are
lot,
you two just
actually.
hungry?
I'm not going to lie, lunch is happening straight after this. But also, Willem was telling us you're in Johannesburg, it's 30 degrees or something like that as well. So we'll save that for the end. Actually, I won't talk about your lunch plans. Part four. I think when we were talking about this session this part of the session in preparation, you guys were talking about co-creation as a
Yeah.
bit of a topic, and you were both very very keen about this particular bit. I'm going to say animated. Even you were both very animated when it came to co-creation. Could you perhaps share some of that? Tell us a bit more about what that means and perhaps what the ingredients of success are.
Sure. So if I start, the co-creation part, we were thinking about the ingredients of success, and again, spitballing ideas together. I love to cook. So, but what I love, one of my favorite ways to cook is just opening up my store cupboards and seeing what I've got in the cupboard. Because sometimes you don't necessarily have all the exact ingredients, but when you bring them together, you're cooking. And we felt like that was a really great metaphor for getting a group of very culturally diverse people together, working in different types of teams, and the benefits of, for example, moving internally, for example, which I've done a lot in my last role. And you pick up lots of different ingredients along the way. And you can apply that in different ways and you can reshape it, but you can still cook a great meal. Willem, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. And I want to just position co-creation. It's not brainstorming. Brainstorming is almost like playing Lego. We have a limited amount, and it's It's not growing the pizza. Co-creation is about shaping your ideas and being shaped, open to be shaped by other people's ideas. And from a business perspective, what that also means is, how do you put all these ingredients together? You know, I know many powerful world leaders. I know them by name. Unfortunately, they don't know me. And the thing is there, if I can have the most wonderful network and people that I can co-create with, but if I can't bring them together to create a value chain, to create value, to create something new, it's useless to me. So always ask yourself, whom can I create something with? Whom can I partner with and create new value? And then to pick up the phone. You know, that's the best way that you need to go about it. And now with LinkedIn, you know, the old adage of 6 degrees of separation, is those days are gone. And you can have a lot with that. So yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. I love the concept. I love the way you teed us up there, Belinda, with the cooking analogy. I was there again. It's because you knew I was hungry. But yeah, makes loads and loads of sense. I think in terms of that, again, you've got a couple of reflective questions, which I think really just sort of hammer home like the point of what you're getting across there. So I'll flick back to you, Belinda, for them, if that's okay.
Sure, I'm going to put it in the chat, but
Yeah.
I'll just put one in.
Okay.
Because I appreciate time is also marching on. So
Yeah.
I think that this is my favorite one, which is, which ingredients are you bringing into your future career? And which ones have expired?
Yeah. Which is the sort of spices that have been in the back
Usually
of the cupboard.
The fish spice.
Yeah.
That one just lies in the back.
Yeah. 4 years out of date, never been used.
Oh, you know that one.
Nobody wants that. So
it was
that's
a good idea at the time. Oh, I'm going to cook with this. You're like, well, I'm never going to cook with this.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Just as we come on to question 5 or talking point 5, the thing I will call out, if you know, we're lucky to have you with us, join us from wherever you are in the world. I've got a couple of questions actually that I'm going to be picking these lovely people's brain at the end. But if you are thinking about your career or you're in between jobs at the moment, or you're thinking about an internal move, whatever it may be in your current situation, please do put a question into the chat. And if we've got time at the end, we'll do our best to pick a couple out and go from there. So the invite is there for anybody that's interested.
Yeah, we're very, very happy to answer questions.
I'm getting my money's worth. Yeah, I'm getting my money's worth. I've got a couple, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Session was titled Career Pivot, you know, like a startup. I would really love to just kind of talk a little bit more about, you know, what that means to both of you. So what does pivot like a startup mean? And I'll come to you first, Willem, as our entrepreneurial specialist.
Yeah, you know, as a business owner, you have to make small steps. So something shifted, something came to an end. What you thought was a great market or great business, suddenly a competitor moves in and you're out of the market. And how do I fix that? And it's about small steps. Most people try to jump from one end of the room to the other. Right? Like, that's the worst idea that you can do. It's about small steps. You've probably seen council workers dig a ditch next to the road. And imagine that guy comes to work in the morning and he just puts his head down and digs a ditch, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon lifts his head. You think it's going to be straight? Yeah, it's going to be all over the place. And what they need to do is to be effective. Base your steps on data. Do something, see how it goes, make a decision, do something. So the point there is, pick a direction. If you're going to go from point A to B, go to B, work a little bit back, look at the steps, and look at the small experiments that you need to go and do. Now, experiments might be pick up a phone, have a conversation with somebody, call potential clients. The same thing in a career environment. Go and talk to people who are in positions that you want to explore into. Find a way to shadow them if that's a possibility. Whatever the skill or task might be, go and attend a course. You know, my son wants to study biology, and I found him an online course and go like, do this during your holiday and see if you like it or not. And if you don't, let's not look at that. That's a good way to do. There's a charity doing something like that. Get involved in that. So it's small little low risk experiments that you can get a feel for it and then decide what's next. Because it's about, I always tell people as an entrepreneur, you need to have awareness. Because most people don't have awareness. The career just goes like, how the past 10 years just sped by. Like, yeah, you're not really in control, are you? And it's about, I want to go from here to there. And then when I get there, I expect this. So in a market perspective, I want to try this and I want to get 10 new customers in the next 30 days. If I don't, I stop and I think, okay, how will I continue? But who's in control? I am. It's my life. And instead of just letting your career go, apply entrepreneurial thinking. You know, what's the next smallest step? How do I feel about this problem? How do I feel about this industry? Are there any emotional connection with it? What emotions do I need to let go? Cognitively, how do I see this? How can I change that lens? Whom can I speak to about that? What can I physically do differently? And what resources do I have around this? Getting back again to your network. Your network is not your net worth if you can't assemble it into something that creates value. And also look at skills outside of a job set. I always tell people, if you're a parent and you have 2 teenagers in the house at the same time, you are a world expert at conflict resolution and you can bowl for that. So skills that you have in your private life, you can apply anywhere else. You know, we had a guy who did a 330-kilometer hike. That's planning, that's project management, that's strategy. So they clearly showed it. So look outside of the box. What are your thoughts, Belinda?
I really like what you're saying around the real world tests. And I think that you need to be doing that because do you seriously want to leave it to chance? No. So the other thing that I think is very important when we're talking anything related to careers is connecting in meaningful ways with your network. And there's lots of different ways, and people will all have their individual preferred methods as well. And I don't think there's any right or wrong on that. It has to be what works for you as a person because we're all different, right? But one of the things that Willem had actually coached me on a couple of months back was around a very humbling question. And I'm going to put Dave on the spot right now because asking your network how they describe you is really revealing. So here it goes. So Dave.
Yes, I'm ready.
How would you describe me to
Oh,
someone else?
how would I describe you to someone else? I think I would describe you, first of all, as the utmost professional, Belinda. I think you're very passionate about helping people and you take it very seriously. That is how I would describe you.
Thank you very much.
Was that close? I was
I
there,
love
wasn't I?
that.
That's true.
I love
It's true.
that. I love that. Thank you.
And I discovered that a few times when a client introduces me to their team and they go like, this is Willem, and he's a world expert on the following, this, and my little voice go like, what? Excuse me? I do that? And it shows us how we diminish our own skills and value that we can bring to the world. And I put that question into the chat and I implore everybody, send it to 10 or 20 people today and see what you will learn about yourself. Things that you never thought you are capable of or good at or even an expert in. And that's when you learn where your true value and, you know, the diamond in you lie.
Fantastic, man. Absolutely love this. I'm getting some free coaching. This is superb. I'm enjoying myself.
I'll send you my invoice.
I probably couldn't afford it. That's the worst thing. So yeah, I'm clinging on to the free. Amazing. There was a reflective question again in this section 5. Would one of you like to kind of call that out and stick it into the chat for everybody?
Yeah, I can. So our reflective question here is, if your career were a startup, what failing assumption would you stop protecting?
Nice. Nice. So basically you're protecting assumptions about, yourself and what your worth is and where your skills are.
Mm,
And people have this natural thing of wanting to cling on to it and protect it, basically.
yeah,
Amazing.
The
exactly.
normalcy bias. Things will remain okay. All is fine. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to put an hour in my diary this afternoon to go back through all of this. This is cool. Or you might find me on your day long lab. So I could be a customer. Amazing stuff. I've taken loads from it, but I love the way we're kind of coming to kind of the last part of the plan session, and it's very much about the pivot process. And the thing I love about this is that there is a bit of step by step to this. So I'll maybe kick it back to you, Willem, if that's all right. What does it look like, the pivot process?
That's good. Thank you. Just don't, we refer to do experiments, try new things. And again, coming back to the conversation we had about learning, choose something, be directional, and ask yourself, what do I want to learn from this? If I do this, what's the output I want to get? What should it look like? And if it looks like it, what might I do next? If it doesn't look like it, what might I do then? If I do it and my results are 10 times what I thought it would be, what would I do then? Just go consciously. It's not about business planning, ladies and gents. It's simply having an idea and specificity. I love that word. People despise me because I keep asking it. Specificity. Be clear. What is the next step? What do you want to do? And you can run multiple experiments. In my business, I'm currently running 7 different experiments. And it's okay. I don't sleep much? Yeah, no, I don't sleep much. But that's the key thing. And ask yourself, if this is a success, how will it help me career pivot? Again, that specificity. And Belinda can easily add comments to that, if during that one-day lab that we plan to do, because then you can ask yourself, how does it really fit in? How will this experiment help me in my career pivot? And Belinda has a lot of knowledge on that. And explore possible directions. Don't just try one thing, because we don't have a lot of time. That's why you can do an online course, have coffee with a different person every day, and volunteers at some charity that does something, or shadow somebody. You can do multiple experiments at the same time. So don't just waste 2 or 3 or 4 months. Don't approach it like a serial process, because a serial process leads to what I term the champagne and 2-minute noodle cycle. Things go well, we pop the bottles of Moet, and then things go down, and then we're down to instant noodles. And then I always tell people a business, and especially a career, is like a family. Everything happens at the same time. It's a parallel process, and you have to approach it from a parallel process. Low risk experiments and learn quickly. If it fails, walk away. I'm a trainer and speaker. If I have a new training program, I write the flyer, I send it to people. If I can sell it to 10 people, I create it. If 3 people buy and nobody else, I refund them. If nobody buys, I do nothing. It goes to the dustbin. Maybe it's not now. It's not forever. It's not now. Can you see how I'm making data-driven decisions and not emotional decisions? And that's the biggest issue. It comes back to from C-suite to silence. Now you're in this panic, and Belinda commented on it as well. Leave your phone at home, go for an hour and a half walk. Take some time off. Give yourself some time, but also that's why you need to spend some time with the right people to give you a different perspective. And perspective, I always tell people, if you take a glass like this, if I ask you to draw this, David, you will draw a rectangle. But if I was looking from the bottom and I draw it, it would be a circle. Are we looking at the same thing? Yes. Do what we see look the same? No. And it's about spending time with the right people to help you shift perspectives. Belinda, any comments from your side?
I think the key things that I want to really emphasize are the fact that it's really important that you identify your negotiables. What are you negotiable on? And what are you not? What are your non-negotiables? I think it's really important to have those clear. And mine have changed since the last time I looked for a job. They fundamentally have changed. And it's really important that I've recognized that, and it's made me more thoughtful in the applications that I'm making at this point in time. And I think that going back to what we've been both saying around those small experiments, it is possible to turn that into real career capital. And what I mean by that is, we're not saying that you need to switch jobs immediately. What we're saying is that any shift that you bring in, think it through, because that whole process blends agility and strategy for you. Most importantly, that startup style testing, that insight, being market ready is really important. And that brings us on to the reflective question.
Yeah.
So what tiny experiment could you run tomorrow or at the weekend perhaps that would teach you something real?
I'm doing it. I'm thinking of something. I'm doing an experiment. But it makes so much sense. It's data driven. You're testing the water, you're taking the small steps, and then if you find what you're looking for, you can lock in, which it makes so much sense. So thank you for sharing. In terms of that does lead us nicely into I guess a bit of a broader conversation around what can the audience do next? What do you recommend as next steps? And I think like you guys are going to be sharing a bit of a PDF and stuff like that. But I will kick it back to you. What are your recommendations around what the audience can do next?
Linda.
Sure. I think that there's really practical things. Think about what are the windows that exist in whether it's online or offline, where you are giving people a channel to you, and what do you want them to know about you? So make your profile a destination, in whatever format that might be. And that could be as simple as starting a conversation with someone in the field you want to explore. It might be being brave and signing up to a meetup group to meet new people, to make new connections. It might just be simply having a proper refresh of your LinkedIn, or some really, really standard stuff like, what are the things that you're most proud of that you achieved last year? Have you allowed yourself the time to think about that? Because if you combine those insights with some of these actions, even just some of these actions, you're going to begin to pivot like a startup. And that's where we want to bring it in. New year. It's a different type of focus.
Absolutely. I
Fantastic.
couldn't agree with you more. You know, even from a business perspective, many of you know business owners and they're not in control of their business. They rarely have money on anything else and it didn't work out for them. And I tell them, yeah, because you're not very specific. Because your business um, is there to provide the time, money, resources, and opportunities for you to have and live the life and expression that you've always wanted. And you need to design it in such a way that it does. That's why some people build businesses and they live the greatest life. And you can do the same thing with a career. How do you design a career that gives that to you? And whenever I coach business owners, I love working with men. I always tell them, I'll help you get your life, wife, and profits back because they run out of answers and everything go wrong. And I said, well, what are your goals? And they're like this. And I said, okay, cool. If we achieve that, you'll be lonely and divorced. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, you have your goals. Your husband or wife have their goals. Your kids have their goals, and you have goals as a family. And tonight, over dinner, just ask your kids and your spouse, hey, what would you like the next 10 years to look like? And just gain some insights. And then you can go and pivot like a startup and go, how do I design this thing? How do I make this happen? And that could be a good start.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's really like kind of right to left thinking. You're having the conversations. You're actually strategically thinking where you want to be, and then you're mapping out the steps. You're doing the experimentation. You're learning. You're testing to get to where you want to be. That is amazing. I guess being an absolute pro that I am, we've got 3 minutes left. Oh, who planned this, eh? It wasn't me, viewers at home. I did not plan this. So I'll be happy that we've somehow got 3 minutes left. Amazing stuff. So closing and call to action. I touched on it at the start. I mentioned it once before. I know you guys are running a bit more of a deep dive. So I'm going to be looking into that. We touched on that there was a PDF. Does it make sense perhaps if we stick the PDF? We've got a link. I think Maddie has got a link to the PDF. If you're happy for us to put that in the chat for people at home to download.
100%. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Maddie, if you look at that.
Well and done, it Maddie. Has 3 reflective questions for each section that we covered instead of just the one.
Fantastic. And do you know what? I'm going to hand to both of you actually to kind of, draw things to a close there. I think perhaps each of you have got a bit of a, close-in, as it were, and we'll go from there. So I'll come to you, Belinda. How would you, invite people to end this session?
I would like to firstly thank you and Maddie for having us, because this has been fantastic for us as well. We've loved speaking with you, and this is my third time, I think, engaging with data idols.
Once in real life as well, Belinda. Once in real life.
In real life as well. Yeah. So and like, my parting comment and summary really is, if you want clarity and confidence in your next career step, whatever that might be, you don't need perfect answers. You do need practical steps.
Love it. Absolutely love that. Willem? Yeah. What
and that's why I want to invite people. Belinda and I created a one-day career pivot, like a startup career lab. We're going to take you through this and how do we make this happen. So even if you are okay in your career now, they're like, well, it's so fine. Come and join us, because it's going to be a skill that you can use time and time again. And maybe it'll just bring you clarity and the exact steps, clarity, steps, practical. I like practical steps. And join us. We're looking for a small group. It's not big. We don't want to do conferences. We want to do a small, intimate group so that we can help people and really make the best of this career pivot.
What a lovely...
So just reach out to us on LinkedIn. The links to our LinkedIn pages are in the workbook as well. So please reach out to us. Let's make a plan. Let's sort your careers out and career pivot like a proper startup.
Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. And there's a little heart emoji just at that perfect moment. Please, why am I such a fan of emojis? Come on, give us a couple of emojis.
Ooh, there's a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, oh, yeah, clapping emojis, heart
Thank
emojis.
you.
Someone give me a party emoji because it feels like
Yes,
we've
there's
had a
one.
bit
There's
of a
one.
party.
There's a few.
So,
Yeah, I love this.
what an absolutely lovely invite to close. You know, to end with that invite to invest a day in yourself. And I think it makes perfect sense, Willem, whether you're happy in your career or whether you're immediately looking for a change or whatever, it's going to be an investment and you're going to take away some stuff and it's going to help you in your career, but it's going to help you in your wider life and your strategic thinking. So I absolutely love that. I'm just going to close by saying thank you to both of you. Really value giving up your time with all of these sessions. It's always not just the hour that you're with us. There has been so much hard work behind the scenes, preparing, thinking about the content you want to get across. So massive thank you from me, but also from all of us that have been able to join from around the world as well. So thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best with the lab. And hopefully we get to do something again in the future. So thank you both very much.
Thank you so much. And we'd just like to say as well, we know we will have prompted quite a lot of questions from the session. We're really happy to connect with people on LinkedIn and answer any questions that you might have. I appreciate when it's in a forum like this, people don't always feel so open to asking questions, but we are very, very happy to answer questions.
Friendly people,
and we'd love to see you on our webinar. Details to follow.
Come to the lab and let's see what's in this lab.
Oh, there we go. I love that. Absolute pros. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that's joined us. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are and look forward to seeing you all again very soon. So yeah, thank you and have a good day. See you later.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.